Pick your favorite Star Trek captains to navigate the space and meet your goal in Star Trek Captain's Chair.
And today we're diving into a quick start tutorial for Star Trek Captain's Chair. We'll explain everything you need to know if you want to get started quickly and pick up the details and icons as you go along, in 15 minutes or less.
And hi everyone, it's Stella.
And Tarrant, and welcome to Meeple University.
And hey, if you enjoyed this video after watching, you really help us by like, subscribe, and let us know what you think in the comments. That seriously will help us to bring more videos. Alright, now let's get to the classroom.
In Star Trek Captain's Chair, each player takes on the role of a Star Trek captain. Starting from your own unique starting deck, you'll work to build up both your deck and your tableau, enlisting new cards from your own unique personal supply, and fighting your opponent for the best cards from the common market. You'll control the best ships, and use them to control locations, all in the aim of earning the most points. Whoever earns the most points over 5 stardates will be well on their way to victory. At its core, Star Trek Captain's Chair is a deck building game with some elements of tableau building and light 2-player area control. Everything you do is driven by the cards that you have and the operations printed on those cards. When you set up, you'll take all of the cards bearing the image of your captain. You'll have your deck and a hand of 5 cards. Your deck will cycle through play in a fairly typical deck building style. You'll play cards into an area called your staging area, discarding those as well as any unwanted cards from your hand at the end of each turn. Above your deck and staging area, you have a tableau of persistent cards. This includes your captain, any ships or cards that you've deployed, and locations you control. Cards in your tableau will remain there between turns until an effect dismisses or otherwise removes them. Off to the side, you have 2 decks of cards unique to your captain, the reserve cards face down and developments face up. These are not yet in play. These are cards which you can unlock to your deck and tableau as the game goes on. You'll also have a player board with 3 tracks and 1 or more missions. Between the 2 players, you'll have the common area and all of the common cards. You'll have decks of the different card types split up by suit. The person, cargo, ship and ally cards sit above this strip, face down with 1 card from each flipped face up into a market, while the high scoring pink encounter cards and the negative scoring red incident cards are simply kept face down. Below that, you'll have a layered location deck of starting then advanced locations with 3 starting locations face up in a row. These are called neutral locations and players will have to fight each other to take them. Stack the 5 stardate cards in ascending order. These time the length of the game. Then make supplies of the resources, latinum, dilithium and glory. Latinum and dilithium are simply gained from and spent to these supplies. For the glory, place a number of glory tokens on the stardate card based on what's shown in the bottom left. Anytime you gain glory, you take it from the stardate card. Anytime you spend it, you return it to the supply. It's when the stardate card runs out of glory that you progress to the next one, refill and advance the game. A glory can be spent as if it were 1 latinum or 2 dilithium, or if you hang on to it, each is worth 1 victory point at the end of the game. The game plays in turns, back and forwards starting from the first player. Your turn plays in 4 steps resolved in sequence. First is resupply. If there are any cards in your tableau with a resupply operation, you must resolve all of those in any order. Second is control, and this relates to controlling the neutral locations in the central area. And I'll come back to how that works later. Third is actions. This is the main part of your turn, and you'll spend it resolving 2 main types of operations on cards: play operations and activation operations. A play operation is resolved by playing a card from your hand to your staging area and resolving one of its plays. An activation operation is resolved by taking an available card in your tableau, exhausting it, and resolving the activation. You can resolve as many of these as you want with two restrictions. First, each card can resolve only a single operation each time it's played or exhausted. And second, only 3 of your operations can be actions, which is any operation showing this icon. Be clear, a play operation is resolved only when the card goes from your hand to your staging area, not when it's in your tableau. And likewise, an activation operation is resolved only by cards in your tableau, not one in your staging area. Some cards are deployed when played, meaning this play effect would deploy it to my tableau, allowing me to then resolve its activation operation. Once you've finished taking operations, even with actions left over, you'll move to cleanup. You must resolve cleanup operations on any cards you have in play, and that means both your staging area and your tableau. Resolve a stardate card if one's been triggered. Take a glory from the stardate card and place it onto one of the 4 market cards. Then discard and draw. You may choose to discard cards from your hand, although you can hang on to them for the next round. You must discard all cards in your staging area. Refresh all exhausted cards in your tableau. And draw back to your hand limit, which, unless otherwise stated, is 5. As with many deck builders, a significant way of scoring points is to get point scoring cards into your deck. There are several ways to do this. If you must draw a card and your draw deck is empty, then shuffle your discard pile to form a new draw deck. And then if there are still any face down reserve cards in your supply, then you must add the top one on top of your deck before you continue drawing. This is called enlisting a reserve. If this happens when you no longer have any reserves, you again reshuffle and may then optionally enlist a development. Look through your entire development stack, choose one whose cost you can pay that cost, and then again add that card to the top of your deck before you continue drawing. There are also some card operations which let you enlist reserves or developments. Cards from the common market are obtained through the gain, scan, or take effects. When you gain a certain card type, you obtain either the top card blindly or the market card, including any glory on it and replenishing from the deck. If you scan a certain number of a card type, look at that many cards from the top of the deck, and then choose among those and the face-up one, returning any seen unchosen cards to the bottom of the deck. You could also scan for a trait. These are the words in the top right of the card, not the top left, in which case you gain such a card from the market if one is available, or reveal cards one at a time from the decks until you find one which matches. In all cases, the gained or scanned card goes on top of either your deck or discard pile, your choice. Meanwhile, if an operation says to take, you'll put the new card straight in your hand. The 7th type of card is the location, and any locations you control will persist in your tableau. For the neutral locations, you'll fight for control, and you have 2 resources at your disposal to do this: ships and away teams. Each captain starts with a certain number of away teams, and various card operations will let you send them to a location, while for any ship you have deployed, you have access to its standee. And if an effect lets you warp that ship, it lets you move it to a location. Tokens on controlled locations often unlock better operations, while on the neutral locations, you'll be trying to gain control in the control step of your turn. Here you can control at most 1 neutral location if you have at least 3 tokens present and at least 2 more than your opponent. Any ships present are dismissed to the player's discard pile, and away teams return to their captains. The losing player gains 1 glory for each token they had present. The newly controlled location is added to the player's tableau and its control operation resolved. And a new location is drawn from the deck. Each player board shows 3 specialty tracks, and you'll move up on these mostly by using operations which combo with the skill icons on cards you have in play. This has 2 benefits. It can unlock some operations on cards which have a specialty prerequisite, and the tracks show a points multiplier which applies to all cards with the matching focus icon. However, focus points are only unlocked by the second part of your player board, your missions. When you achieve the goal printed on one of your missions, immediately mark it, you gain the reward, and you can now score all of your focus points. If you finish the game without a completed mission, all of these cards score 0. And on the advanced side, you have up to 3 missions you can complete. Each is worth its own number of victory points, and you need to complete only one of them to unlock your focus points. A few more things to know. There are passive and reaction operations, which are in effect when those cards are in your tableau. Passives occur whenever they're triggered, while reactions require you to exhaust the card to resolve them. By default, person cards will go only into your staging area and discard pile, giving you no access to their activation operations. To use these, you need to promote the person, using some other card with a promote operation on it, to move a person to this slot, making them the duty officer. By default, you can have at most 1 duty officer and may freely dismiss that officer to make room for another. You may often beam cards to ships or locations. Slot the beamed cards like so. You have access to all the traits and information at the top of the card as if they were in play, but without any access to that card's operations. Beamed cards are discarded if the cards they're beamed to leave play. You may log a card. This means to slip it underneath your captain's card. You can no longer use any part of the logged card during play, but its points and icons count towards endgame scoring. This is distinct from destroying a card, in which case the card is gone forever. All other keywords and effects are explained in detail in the rulebook. When a stardate card is emptied on your turn, give the card to your opponent and fill the new card. If you were given a stardate card on your prior turn, then you resolve its effect during Resolve Stardate. This will involve junking cards and removing tokens from the market. When the 5th card is empty, the end of the game is triggered. Play until both players have had the same number of turns, then play 1 more turn each, and take any newly gained glory from the general supply. Now count up final scores. Consider all cards in your hand, deck, discard, tableau, and log. Score the points in the bottom corners of all such cards, including focus points from your specialty tracks, as long as you completed at least 1 mission. Score endgame operations on cards in your tableau only. Now gain 1 point for each glory you've collected, 1 point for every one of your ships or away teams still on a neutral location, and on the advanced side of your board, points for each mission you've completed. The player with the highest score wins, and if tied, victory is shared. But there is one other endgame condition, the burn. The negative scoring incident cards are often taken as part of the cost of an action. And these cards have play operations on them which tell you how to return the card. If this small deck ever runs out, the game ends immediately, and whichever player holds the fewest total incident cards wins. If tied, count victory points as normal. And that's our quick start tutorial for Star Trek Captain's Chair.
Thanks so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, let us know what you think and share this video if you enjoyed. And hope you have a great day. See you next time.